Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini. He helps me in the craft room. And we have a very fun card for you today. It's a fun fold and it's a little bit different. I don't think I've seen this one. I made mine a birthday card. Here is my card. I have the card that is cut this way. It has a place for your message inside, and when it stands up, it has a little bit of an easel quality in that it can stand up and stand this way. I think you can see that. Yeah, and so that's why I wanted this part to have decoration as well as this, and that takes care of all the decoration for the inside, with maybe one little exception. And this one says, "No one deserves a happier birthday than you." And then I've stamped the tulips here, and I'm going to change just a little bit. Let me show you what it takes to make this card. There's lots of little pieces in this one. So the very first thing is a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Now on this one, what I did, and I'll grab my trimmer and we'll do that right now, is I took 1.5 inches off of one side of my card. So there's my 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to take that piece off of the card so my card looks like this when I'm done. Now that's a nice big scrap that will work for sentiment for something else. Okay, so here is my card base then. And then we need a piece. This piece is 2 3/4 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, just like the big card. And then on one end, I took off 1/8 of an inch. So when I fold this over, you'll see that that is 1/8 of an inch short of the full card length. And I did that because what I'm going to do, if we take a look at this, is I'm going to put this piece of card in here, and I don't want it to go all the way to the fold because I don't want it to impede the folding of the card up. So I just took 1/8 of an inch off the bottom, and that'll do it. So that's those two pieces there. Then we need, we need a piece of white scrap that we're going to stamp our sentiment, and then we're going to die cut it out. Then we need, I use this beautiful paper from the Tulips, and I have a piece here, two pieces that are 5.5 by 1.5. This one looks too long, it needs to be trimmed down, so I have to trim, but you need two pieces that are 5.5 by 1.5, and that is for this piece and this piece. Then we need 3 pieces, and in this case I chose to use rich razzleberry. You need 3 pieces that are 5.5 by 1/2 inch. Then you need 1 piece that is 2 3/4 by 1/2 inch. And then I have 3 little pieces here that are 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. And that is going to make our little stop right down here. I didn't want it to be as high as a dimensional, but I want to be able to have this card stand like an easel card. So that's what those 3 are for, and we're just going to glue those together. All right. And the other thing that I did on this one that I'm going to change up is, one more piece of designer series paper. This is 1.5 inches by 2 3/4. I don't know if I said that or not, but we need that one as well. And what I'm going to change with this one, I wasn't very happy with this stamping here. I thought it looked a little flat. So I went ahead and stamped a bunch of tulip and stems and leaves, and I stamped my my images tone on tone. So this is rich razzleberry ink on rich razzleberry paper, and the leaves are all evening evergreen on evening evergreen paper. And I used the dies where I could and fussy cut out the others. And so we have probably more than I need here, but I like to have extra choices in case I decide to do something else. So let me show you the stamp set and the dies. The stamp set is this one, and I used this one, this, and this sentiment, the small leaf, and this stem. And it's got some great sentiments in it. It's got some or things here that you can use pretty easily. Now, dies. What I used in the dies, these are the dies for the tulip set. And let's see, this one cuts out this one. This one cuts out this. This one cuts out the small leaf. This one cuts out the stem. And then these other little ones, I couldn't see where one of these actually was pointy enough on the bottom to cut those out. So I fussy cut a few of those out as well, just so I could have some extra choices. So that is what I have, and isn't that a fun one? It's a whole row of flowers on stems, and I think you could have a lot of fun with that one. I think I'll try using that one in an upcoming video. All right, so this is the pieces. Then you need a piece of white scrap to put your sentiment on, and I use the iridescent rhinestones, and I think that's all we need. We just need to get moving and get our piece done. Okay. Oh, other dies. I did use my stitched rectangle dies, and I used the second smallest one in this configuration of the dies. And it just fits on that card piece front. Okay, so that is probably where I'm going to start. And that is, because that's really the only stamping there is to do on this. And so I'm going to take my rich razzleberry ink here, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And I'm just going to center this here to get a nice stamp. Then when you put your die around that one, it just fits, and this is what you get back. No one deserves a happier birthday than you. All right, so now we're all ready to go on that. Now, in assembling this, what I did was I put this piece in place first. Now remember, this piece is 1/8 of an inch shorter on one side. And that we're just going to lay down wherever we like here. And I think I put that in, about 1/2 inch or so, and put it right up to the top of this paper. So I'm going to put some snail on that piece, and I'm going to set this down so that it's in about 1/2 inch and even with the top of this card. I think that's just about right. And my bottom, this piece will be outside, but the bottom of the card closes nice and easily, so that works there. All right, next I have my designer series paper. And let's see, I need to trim this little piece down. I'm going to just do that off camera here to cut it down to 5.5 inches. And then we're going to add some adhesive on the back of this strip. And now that that's on there, I wanted it to go all the way across and start to hide this piece here. So we're going to slide that in right up along the edge and all the way to the edge of here, and then all the way across that card. Let me make sure that's straight. There we go, all the way across there. And you can make that a tiny bit long so that it fits perfectly. See, I'm off just a little bit on this one, and so I may have to make a little cut. Now this piece here I didn't talk about, and this is another piece that's going to help hide all of this. Now we're going to take one of those pieces of the rich razzleberry that is 5.5 by 1/2 inch, and we're going to put it across here. Let me grab my silicone mat before I start making a glue mess here. And put this piece into place along just right underneath this strip, and it just finishes off that look beautifully. And there we go. Then this piece is 2 1/8, and then we need it to be 5.5. And that is going to complete the look of the inside of that card and cover up the bottom of this thing. So right here, we're going to glue that in place, and then you'll have a place for your sentiment right here along the bottom. So that's 2 1/8 by 5.5. We want this paper all to be going all the way across the card. That's why it's 5.5. So again, I'm going to put this in. I'm going to be so careful with this seal because it is so sticky that you kind of have one shot to get it right. So now there's the inside of that part of the card done. Now then, we've got another of these long strips, and I'm going to put that here. The only thing you have to watch on this paper is if you have a directional pattern. You want to put it so that when, like here, when you open it up, you want both of those pieces to be facing up. So this piece, I'm going to add some seal to. And put that into place right along the bottom of this piece of the card. So butted right up against those edges. In fact, it might not hurt to do these pieces in the liquid glue so you could wiggle them around and get them in here just exactly right. Then we're going to take another one of these long pieces and set it in place right above that just to finish that look off. So I'm going to put that piece right in here and set that to go all the way across the card. And there we go. Now for the top of our card here, and you want to give that a good burnish so that closes the way you want it to. And we have this piece that was 2 3/4 by 1.5, and that piece is going to go right on the top of here to continue this look when the card is closed. So we're going to add some snail to that and put that in place right along, again, the top of the card, all the way across this little piece of white. Then we have our 1/2 inch rich razzleberry trim that's going to go right in place there, so it looks like a continuous band when the card is closed. So we'll put that in place and butt that right up against there, and that is beginning to take shape. Now this piece coming across here, we have this piece of rich razzleberry, which is a 1/2 inch by 5.5, and we are going to put that in place also right along the edge of that card, so that you get that finished look whether the card is open or closed. Now then, for our decorating on the front, what I did was I took a little dauber with some rich razzleberry ink, and I kind of just went around the edges of this. In fact, I don't even have to re-ink this dauber, just a tiny bit, just so that there's some definition from the white in the banner and the white of the card. And then I added just a couple of dimensionals. And that piece is going to go right here on the front of our card, centered on our piece of white. And that way we see this message. One piece that doesn't, yep, that one still has its dimensional back on. Okay, so right in here, centered on that piece of white, and that I think will just fit all the way across there. And there's our happy birthday message. Now, to finish this off, we have a couple of little things to do. So on this one, I'm going to just use my dot runner, and truth be known, I should be using the liquid glue on these. But these have all been cut exactly the same length and width, 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. And you'll see that it's not as thick as a dimensional, because you could put something up on a dimensional to give you that block there. You can see how thin that is. It's really not very thick at all. And then I will just use, now you could, I suppose, put a dimensional under that, but my whole point is I didn't want a bunch of added dimension there. So I'm just going to center that roughly along there. Well, straight would be good. Let that get down there, and now my card, now it's straight, but it's not in the middle. So let me do that and kind of set that down. I think that's more like it. All right, so that is now straight and in the center, and so my card will in fact stand without this pulling away and collapsing. And so it'll stand just like that. Okay, now on this part, because when this is closed, you don't see the inside of that card, and I just wasn't crazy about the stamped look on this. So I thought I would, and since this is raised on dimensionals, I think I can get away with raising this other part on dimensionals. I'm just going to use some of the bones here and just use this up. Okay, on this tulip, I'm just going to set that across there and put my larger tulip right in there. Then I have a smaller tulip that I'm just going to use a bit of dimensional here on the back of it. And set that a bit off to the side here. See, I think that's going to look so much better. All right, then I need 2 stems. So I'm just going to add some my dot runner on these, and then we'll trim them down. And I'm going to set those in place on the card here, and I think I want this one going the other way. Just going to set it underneath there, and then I will just trim those stems off. And then I've got leaves, and I think I'm going to lay one of the leaves down flat, and then I can trim it off. And I think this one I'm going to put on this side, right across there, and then raise one on dimensionals for this side. Okay, so, oops, I still have some tape on that one. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of dimensional on that one, maybe a little bit more, right across there. Then I can put this one into place right there, and there, isn't that pretty? That I like much better than this. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim these off from the back so that they fit on there just the way I want them. And I like that a lot better. Now, on the inside, on this one, I didn't do anything more, but I thought it might be kind of fun to add, we have a couple of little pieces of leaf here that I've snipped off from something from the other side. So I can put that there, and then maybe put this large tulip right in here. It won't impede the closing of the card, especially if I move it down just a little. There we go. And then I have another little piece of leaf down here that I'm just going to add a little bit of snail to, and maybe slide that underneath that side. And there we've got a little bit, just a little tiny bit more decoration on the inside of the card. And you've plenty of place to write your sentiment there. So that is pretty much it. Now I'm going to add some rhinestone detail to that. And I've got leaves left here. I can make another card. That's fun. Okay, so that is the card pretty much. Now I'm just going to take these beautiful iridescent rhinestones and scatter a few of them around the card, and I'm going to put maybe one here on the message itself, one down here, and scatter a few of these little ones around here just to pick up a little sparkle. There we go, just like that. And there my card is finished. It really does look like it needs another rhinestone, doesn't it? Maybe right in here. All right, so that is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. Joining Stampin' Up! Is always a good idea. Their join offer is $125 worth of product for $99. Let's see, what else can I tell you? And you start out with a 20% discount. I'm going to put this one on top because I really do like that so much better. And let's see, at month end, I always select one person who has put an order on my blog, on my store, and I give away a $60 shopping spree on me every month. And you put yourself in the drawing by putting an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, or you can get to it through my blog, www.inkingenuity.com. And my blog is finally caught up. And in fact, I put a post up yesterday during the month of March. Stampin' Up! Is selling the mini cut and emboss machine at a 20% discount, and then there are 12 bundles that are also 20% off that all have dies that can use the mini stamp machine. And it's great for travel because it's small, compact, and does a great job. So that is it for me. Thank you so much again for stopping by, and I'll be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye.